Week 3 of Bleav in Lions brought to you by FanDuel. As we kick this off, the Lions are now 1-1 heading into week 3, and we're glad to have you along. I'm Trevor Thompson. Glover Quin, former All-Pro safety and fan favorite of the Detroit Lions, on the other end of the line. And we've also got one of his former teammates, TJ Lang, a Michigan man through and through, a product of Brother Rice High School, Eastern Michigan University, Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowler. TJ, thanks for joining us on the show today. We really do appreciate the time.
No problem.
Love your work on the sidelines, on the radio broadcast with Dan Miller. You're right in the trenches right there. So you've got an up-close and personal look at how the Lions managed to turn it around week over week from week 1 to week 2 with that 51-point explosion against the Bears in week 2. What were the keys there? What did you see, and what are your expectations going forward, sir?
Yeah, massive improvements just across the board from week 1 to week 2, offensively, defensively, special teams made a difference where, that they didn't really play great in Green Bay either. And communication was better across the board, starting on the offensive line. Too many missed assignments there, or too many guys, not on the same page week 1, and crowd noise, definitely affects you. Last week looked much smoother, much sharper. Didn't really see any free runners in the backfield, which is always positive. And Glover, I know you in the secondary too. I mean, a couple of miscommunications there in Green Bay with, just some switch releases. And is it man? Is it, cover 3, cover 2? Just didn't look like they were on the same page in week 1. And that looked much, much better against Chicago. And, that's what Coach Campbell preaches, man. He just says, we just got to find a way to improve, right? That's what it's about. Not only the young players, vets as well. How do you challenge them to improve so that your whole team can improve? And, the strength of this team the last couple of years has been the offensive line. I mean, with the way they're able to run the ball and protect Jared and get the play action game going. And I thought they took a huge step forward as a group, and you could tell that was contagious to the rest of the team. Everybody definitely upped their level of play in a game that, some people were starting to panic a little bit, right? I mean, no lot was said about, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson leaving and what's it going to look like with new coordinators. And week 1 was like, oh, man, we're not used to that. Week 2 against Chicago was a reminder that, okay, the coordinators might have left, but they didn't take the players with them. The Lions still have a ton of elite players across the board, and they all came ready to play, and they showed up, which honestly is a big week 2 win for them, getting back on track.
Yeah, I have to agree. I thought the energy and everything was a lot better than what I saw in week 1. And sometimes, I know from a defensive standpoint, week 1 is kind of tough just because you haven't really saw what the team is going to do. I mean, in the preseason, people don't show as much. And so sometimes you got new wrinkles that the offense is bringing out. And so when you're trying to, like I said, in that first game defensively, I saw them doing a bunch of fire zones, dropping the defensive ends out, dropping the D lineman out. Those guys aren't used to doing that. And when they do it in practice on a week where you expect it, like you've kind of seen the routes that they like to run. And so they come out expecting to have to cover certain things, right? Because all week in practice, they've done it. And it's always been like this little out route or this little check down. And so these D linemen feel really good having to cover that. But when they get in the game, and these guys are running streaks down the middle of the field. Like they're not expecting to turn and run 20 yards down the field. And I think we saw a lot of that in that first game. Whereas when you play the first game, now we have real film from week 1 that we can kind of look at to kind of get more of an idea. And so you will see the defenses start to get better and better each and every week as they have more film to digest from week to week. And so, like I say, a lot of times you make a huge improvement from week 1 to week 2 in the NFL, and I thought the Lions did that.
Yeah, no doubt. And offensively as well. I thought Green Bay had a really good game plan when it came to aligning their defense. And like you said, I mean, I know that Jeff Hafley, the coordinator for Green Bay, was there last year, so you can kind of get a feel of what the base is going to be. But you get in some of these third downs, and it's like, man, we didn't see that on film, right? And especially with the way that the Lions like to operate on the road, with the center looking under his legs for the quarterback, you have 2 young guards next to him that you have to be able to communicate. Hey, he was a nose tackle, now he's a 3 tackle. Now they shifted, now it's a jam front, and you could tell week 1 that you got Christian Mahogany, a second-year player, and a rookie on the other side. It's like, oh, like we didn't, like we didn't expect this to happen. So it just
Right.
kind of jumbled it up. But those are the reps that you need as young players. And like you said, even offensively, the adjustments that John Morton made as well. You're right. I mean, the more film that you put out there, the more tendencies you're going to have, the more that teams can, look at percentages and analytics to say, okay, on third and, 6+, like it's 90%, that you're going to start to develop tendencies. I think the biggest challenge, GQ, is always, how do you break those tendencies, and how do you
Right.
show something that we put on film a couple weeks ago and we've got some wrinkles off of that, right? And that's what I liked going into week 2. I mean, they showed a lot of the same formations, motions that they showed against Green Bay, and then it's play action pass off of it. You can see the Chicago defense coming downfield, and man, we got to stop the run. And oh no, there's Jame over the top for a big play, right?
No
So
question.
yeah, so they needed that offensively, and I think that it's a reminder, also, when you win a game like that, okay, we're doing things the right way, right? Like,
Right.
practice might have been tough on Wednesday, coaches, might have been hard on us on Thursday or Friday in the red zone, whatever it is. Like, man, like you don't enjoy that coming off of a loss, but when we have a dominant win like that, it's a reminder that, like, okay, like, we're doing things the right way, because it's, we're seeing the validation out there on game day. That's the most important thing.
No question.
So, guys, we're going to move ahead to week 3 here against the Ravens. And TJ, look at the FanDuel odds for the Super Bowl favorites this year. And the Baltimore Ravens are number 1 at plus 500. You got to go a little ways down the line here, 6th in the rankings as far as the odds are concerned, of the Lions at plus 1,700. And you can see why Baltimore is number 1 when you look at what they've done over the first 2 weeks. The highest scoring team in the NFL so far. Super Bowl favorites. What's going to be the challenge to come out of that building on a Monday Night Football with win number 2 and then take down one of the best teams in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, well, look, I mean, the steps that you took forward against Chicago, you hope to carry some of those on, but you're back on the road in another very loud environment. So I think that, Coach kind of talked about all throughout the week is, like, we got to make sure we get it right. And it's going to be loud for our offense. And, they're going to probably do a lot of the same things that Green Bay had success in. I look at this game and it's like, okay, can you help your offense with a little bit of tempo to force Baltimore's defense into some more vanilla calls and not allow them to communicate when you get to line of scrimmage quickly? That'll be something that we'll obviously see Monday night, but that's a tough place to play. I mean, I played there 2 or 3 times, and it's got an intimidation factor to it. You go into Baltimore and those fans are rowdy, man. And whether they're wearing the all blacks or the all purples, like, it's just like, and plus it's a team that you only see, well, you used to see once every 4 years. Now with the 17th game, you still might see once every couple of years, but it's an unfamiliar opponent that, anytime you play cross conference games, it's like, okay, like, don't really have a comfort level with these guys or haven't played them in a couple of years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's more to think about. So you got to rely on your fundamentals, but it's going to be tough. And I mean, even look at last week, against Cleveland, Baltimore. I mean, I think Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry combined for like 36 yards on the ground, and they still scored 41 points. So it's like even when you take away their bread and butter, they're still capable of putting up 41. And it's like, my goodness. And they're just they've got talent all over the place, man. And you don't really see a lot of NFC quarterbacks, that have the same skill set as some of these AFC guys, whether it's Lamar or Josh Allen, what he does. And so it's always tough for NFC teams, in my opinion, to kind of match those guys up. But it's as long as the Lions, improve even more from last week. I know, like, you're like, man, it feels like they played a close to perfect game. There's still areas that you got to clean up and be sharp, but it's going to be a challenge, man. It is. And I think that getting that win against Chicago maybe gives the confidence to those guys in the locker room that, what, we're still a big dog too, right? Like, after week 1, everybody kind of forgot about us. I know we beat the Bears. Nobody's counting them as Super Bowl contenders, but, like, it's also a reminder that, we're still one of the top dogs too. Dan Campbell always seems to get his guys ready to go.
Yeah. And the thing that I'm going to say is, to go on the road in the NFL and beat a good team on the road, your stars have to show up. When you're at home, your stars don't have to be as big time because your role players are better at home. You know what I'm saying? They feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's a better environment. So your role players pick it up a little more at home. When you go on the road, your stars have to show up. So
Mm-hmm.
in saying that, Jared Goff is going to have to show up.
Yep.
Amon-Ra is going to have to show up. Taylor Decker and Panay, you're going to have to show up. On the defensive side of the ball, the secondary, you guys are supposed to be the strong point. Brian Branch, Kirk, you guys are going to have to show up.
Mm-hmm.
It just is what it is. You can't go on the road and expect your role players to lead you to victory. Your stars are going to have to show up in that environment and lead them to victory. And if they do that, I think they got a good chance to go in there and win. Baltimore's had our number. They've had our number for a while.
Yeah.
I think at some point you got to right the ship and say, and I know it's just week 3 in the NFL, right? And for both of these teams, I think the postseason success is really what we're all waiting for from everybody. Baltimore is always good in the regular season, and they get to the postseason and they can't get to the top. And the Lions have been the same way recently. So I think both teams are more worried about the postseason at some point. But this is a huge early season game to kind of gauge where you are, to get a good feel for things. And you always want to win these games. It's just a mindset that you want to win these games. But I definitely feel like the stars are going to have to show up. So if we get back on here Tuesday or whenever we get back on here and we look at the stat line, just look at the stat line. If I can't find the stars on the stat line in a positive way, I'm gonna know the end result of that game.
Yeah. Yeah. Gibbs, Amon-Ra, on offense. I mean, those are guys that, and look, we know that there's certain ways that, teams can try to take you out of the game, whether it's shadow coverage, double coverage, whatever. Like other guys going to have to step up too. But you're right, man. Jared Goff, he could use another big game.
He's gonna need
it's going to, they were really good. Everybody kind of forgets, like, Jared Goff was undefeated on the road last year, and I know it didn't look great in Green Bay week 1. That wasn't his fault. He was doing what the team, what basically was given to him. But, it's just a guy that's tough, man. And he, even the year before going on the road and knocking off Kansas City, when they were the defending champs. I mean, it's going to be, you can't undersell how big this game is going to be, how tough it's going to be. But you're right, Glover. I like it, man. Like you got to go out there and, Hutch looked like, second half against Chicago, like starting to get that confidence, right? Like took a couple shots, took a chop block. Maybe that's what you need coming off an injury. Like, okay, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like now I can really roll. Because anytime you come off an injury like that, you still have maybe some doubts that creep into your mind. He looked like he was starting to pick it up there in the second half. And this is going to be a game where, everybody talks about Baltimore's defense and their secondary and Kyle Hamilton and Humphrey and the talent that they have up front. Matabiki, who's a really good defensive tackle, gets a ton of sacks. Lions are going to have to match that with their defense. And it'll be interesting too, Glover. I mean, I know you can speak to this better than I can. When you're a defensive lineman, getting in some of those pass rush situations against a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, it's like it's got to be calculated, right? Like it can't just be, hey, I'm just going to go fly up the field, spin underneath, and just like what I mean. You can't free rush, so to say, as if you were playing against a true pocket passer. So I want to see what type of adjustments that Kelvin Shepherd makes to get some guys to maybe flush Lamar out, and maybe if you're going to use a spy or not. Aaron Glenn was never big on it when he was here. I don't know how Kelvin feels about it being, a true linebacker, how he's going to defeat, or defend Lamar's legs and his scrambling ability. But that's going to be a huge part of the game if they can get in the backfield and they can affect Lamar Jackson. They can get him off his spot because with how good he is, I mean, he still makes some plays every once in a while where it's like, ooh, like he's going to give you a chance to take that football away. So, that defense, if they can improve on getting to the passer, that's going to be a huge difference Monday night.
What else have you picked up in your game prep, TJ, that maybe people aren't talking about that you're going to look for on Monday night?
Offensively speaking, I mean, I was surprised with how much man coverage Chicago gave the Lions wide receivers, just because Green Bay had so much success running just, umbrella coverage and deep zone and keeping everything in front of them that it was like, okay, like if that's the way to, kind of jumble up the Lions offense. Like, why are you going to give them so much man coverage? And the Lions made Chicago pay. I mean, Amon-Ra was uncoverable in man coverage. He has been that way for a long time. J-Mo, you get one-on-one coverage with him on a deep post. It's like, okay, thank you. Like you're begging teams to give you man-on-man coverage if you're the Lions offense. So that's honestly what I'm looking going into this Baltimore game Monday night. How much are they willing to change their defense? Because they're aggressive. They like to play man. They like to blitz a lot. Are they going to maybe sit back a little bit more and try to just play shell zone coverage and keep everything in front and just hope that the front four guys can be enough to affect Jared Goff? Which is one of my big keys too, is how does this offensive line continue to stay consistent with what they put on film against Chicago? The protection was outstanding. The run game, the fits, the double teams, passing off stunts, it was outstanding. The communication was great. You're going to have to do that again. And then you really start to put defenses in the bind of, okay, we can't keep sitting back because we're getting gashed in the run, or we can't keep doing this because, they're getting 6, 7, 8 yards of play. We got to change something up. I want to see if Baltimore was willing to change what they do on on defense, just to kind of match what Green Bay had so much success in week 1. And then also, if they do that, what are the adjustments that John Morton and the Lions offense are going to make? I didn't feel like they made enough adjustments in week 1 to get guys in different positions and set their playmakers up, to get one-on-one opportunities. So that's going to be something I'll be looking for. And you can always tell pretty early in the game how the opposing defense wants to handle you and wants to attack you. I'm going to be watching that early, that Baltimore defense, how they're lining up and how they plan on taking away, Amon-Ra and J-Mo, and how they're going to match with Gibbs and Montgomery in the backfield.
Hey, Glover, we talked about the Ravens offense, but we're talking about their defense right now, and they've given up the second most yards through the first 2 games of the season. What are you seeing defensively, maybe that the Lions can hope to exploit that other teams have been able to exploit over the first 2 weeks?
Well, I mean, I think obviously the Lions have a number of weapons. And like TJ was saying, when you're playing a lot of man-to-man defense, if you're not getting pressure on the quarterback to get him down, it's tough in the secondary. These receivers are really good. The offenses are really good. Guys get open. And when you're playing man-to-man, one missed tackle leads to 20, 30 yards before the next guy can come in and make a tackle. So when you're doing things like that, you got to have a good mix of coverage. You got to have a good mix of rush so that it marries up, right? We got the guys covered so the quarterback holds on to the ball, get the rush time to get there. And so when you're playing against the Lions, having a quarterback like Jared Goff, who's not very mobile, he doesn't run a lot. I'm interested, like TJ said, to see if they're going to stay with their man-to-man and try to pressure Jared Goff to we're going to stop the run game and we're going to pressure Jared Goff and see if he can stand in there and make those throws. And can our secondary hold up long enough? I think that's going to be the biggest thing. And then the Lions obviously have the talent offensively to put up big numbers. We've seen that. We just haven't really seen it against Baltimore. And so I'm interested to see that. But the thing that is really going to be intriguing to me, because I'm a defensive guy.
Right.
I don't know if the last few times that we've played Baltimore, I don't know if Lamar respects or fears our defense. And he may not fear anybody's defense. But I feel like when he's playing the Lions, it's like he knows that there's really nobody on the D-line that can catch me. There's really nobody in the linebacker room that could catch me. So I can kind of just do my thing. And that's the way he's kind of played. And I wonder how we are going to approach that. Are we going to try to pressure him? Are we going to try to sit back and keep him in the pocket and force him to make throws? Are we going I'm really interested to see what we're going to do, because if you pressure him, he takes off running. That's a tough situation. And if you sit back and play zone, now he's just standing back there all day. He's going to eventually find somebody. So I'm going to be interested to see how we try to attack Lamar, because the last few times we've tried to play them, we haven't had success, and Lamar's had, stellar days against the Lions defense.
Is that the key, you guys? Is it stopping Lamar? Or TJ, you already mentioned Derrick Henry. The guy's a monster.
Yeah.
Is that the key, the run game? What is the key to stopping these guys, in your guys' opinion? Is it Lamar Jackson? Is it the run game? What is it?
Yeah, I think it starts with Lamar, because even like I said, against Cleveland last week, Derrick Henry had 11 carries for 23 yards. And, they still had a ton of success. And even Lamar only had 2 carries for 13 yards, but just the threat, the athlete that he is, the threat that he is every single play to, get an explosive. It's got to start with him. Now, if I'm Baltimore, I got to imagine that they're probably going to try to get Derrick Henry going early in this game. Just because, anytime you come off a game like that with your star player has, so many few yards or like plays below expectation, it's like, okay, let's get him back going again, the next week. Would expect to see a heavy dose of him. But yeah, I think it's got to be Lamar because it's all 3 downs. He is a threat. You know what I mean? It's like you get off, maybe you get a stop on first down and then 2nd and 10, maybe you get a TFL at 2nd and 11. Okay, or it's 3rd and 11. And you still can't really, feel comfortable defending that guy because there's just so much that's going through your head. And I think the biggest thing too, and just remembering last time Detroit went out to Baltimore, I think like when you play a quarterback like this, and GQ would be able to talk better than I can, but I just remember there were so many plays where guys were like over aggressive when it came to trying to stop Lamar. And then it's kind of like bailing out in your coverage zone, or, I'm supposed to be in man with the tight end and, but Lamar's running. Like, I got to go make a play. And then that guy's wide open. It almost seems like it's easy when you play a guy that's such a high caliber player that it's almost easy to be over aggressive because these are emphasis, throughout the week. You hear them every single meeting, every single day of practice. Hey, contain. Then you get in the game and it's like, okay, well, I got to go contain. Oh, but I forgot I was supposed to be in coverage back here, right? And now I left my guy wide open. I think it's easy for teams. I just remember so many plays where it's like, man, like guys just trying to do a little too much. You got to trust your teammates, I think, to go out there and do their jobs. And, you're going to get beat by that guy a couple times. It's okay. Like everybody gets beat, by star players, man. They're going to have some big plays. Like that's why they are who they are. You just got to try to limit them. And especially when it comes to the big moments, 3rd down and in red zone situational football, that's where you got to make sure you can't get beat, right? Because those are the big plays that always make a difference in the outcome.
And I think what you said is so true because it's the fear of the dynamic that player brings. Meaning, as a defender, you don't want to get caught in certain situations. So when you see that there is a possibility, then you try to protect yourself, right? Meaning, as a linebacker, you don't want to get caught in open space with Lamar.
Yeah.
So the minute that you feel like he's taking off, I got to go close this cushion. Because if I sit back and stay in this coverage, I ain't going to catch him anyway. So then you leave your coverage to go try to force the issue, and then he throws the ball. But at the end of the day, you probably would rather tackle Mark Andrews in open space than Lamar running in open space. So it's just kind of one of those things where you see it all the time, especially from the linebackers. They're going to go try to get those guys in space. You know what I'm saying? Even if you check it down to the running back, they want to, you don't want to have to try to tackle those guys in space. And so that's the fear that Lamar puts into defense, especially the secondary guys. You know what I'm saying? And we've been taught, we've heard it all week. They talk about staying in coverage. Lamar's going to run, stay in coverage. You do your plaster drills. So your DBs stay on your wide receivers, all these things, because you're hoping that the D-line and the linebackers can get him down. And I'm not, but when you look at the D-line, I don't know if Tyleek is going to catch Lamar. They're gonna have to push the pocket. Seriously, they're gonna have to push the pocket. The ends, like TJ said, you cannot get out of your rush lanes. Aiden Hutchinson, Davenport, it's gonna have to be a disciplined team unit rush to get him. And if Lamar doesn't feel like you guys can get him, then it's gonna be a long day. Seriously, it's gonna be a long day.
Yeah. And then offensively too, I mean, I want to see things speed up a little bit. Obviously against Chicago, everything was great. Protection was great. Offensive line was dominating. It's at home. There's no noise. Like we can communicate. You're going back on the road where it's going to be loud. Just going back to week 1, that Green Bay game, everything looked like it was taking too long for me. You know what I mean? It was just the routes were taking forever to develop. Some of them looked like they were in slow motion. Like Jared was kind of hitting his back step and then kind of look. Like I want to see this offense kind of sped up a little bit, whether that's tempo or whether that's, hey, let's get the ball out quick. If the first couple plays, couple screens, couple 3-step drop slants, just to try to settle your offense in a little bit and settle your offensive line in. Don't go out there, everything's a 7-yard drop and hey, we're trying to get the ball down the field every single play. That puts a lot of pressure on your offensive line. Back on, road rules, Glover, we always talked about them, right? Road rules, you got to take care of the football. You got to be disciplined when it comes to penalties. Don't give the other team anything. And the Lions have been good. I think they're, in the top 3 so far throughout two games of being least penalized teams. So those are all things. And then situational football, you're going to have to. Big difference last week, Chicago. I mean, week 1 to week 2, you didn't score a touchdown in the red zone against Green Bay. You that hurt you. And then last week, I think you're 6 for 7 against Chicago, punching the ball and getting 6. Those are going to be the 10. And opportunities, Coach talked about all week too. Like, we still got to play complementary football when we get those takeaways, because last week, the two takeaways, interception, a forced fumble, and then you get 2 stops on 4th down, Lions defense. I think you had 7 or 10 points to show for that. It's like, okay, like, you really want to bury teams and beat good teams. Those are going to be situations that you got to take advantage of.
You talk about them beating a good team. Well, FanDuel is giving the Ravens are giving 5.5 points. The over-under is set at 51.5 points. Just your thoughts on those numbers as we wrap this thing up here, guys.
You said they're giving the Ravens.
Yeah, Ravens are giving 5.5. Giving 5.5, and the over/under is 51.5. I
mean, last week I said FanDuel got it wrong, and this week I'm gonna say they got it wrong again. I don't see the. I think the Lions. No. Come on, FanDuel. We got to get on the same page, FanDuel, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. We got to get on the same page because. The over under 51, I'm definitely going to take the over. I think the Lions are going to score. Although, I mean, they're playing in Baltimore. It hasn't been great, but I feel like this can be a good game. And I mean, when I say good game, I mean, the thing I like about good games is there's enough offense and enough defense to constitute a good game. Meaning, offense is going to score, but defense is going to make enough stops, timely stops, to where it's a good game. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking 28-31-ish type. Like, those are good games. There's enough offense and enough defense, right? So I'm definitely going to take the over. The Lions are definitely going to cover that, though, for sure. We're gonna win the game for one, but it's definitely going to cover +5. Yeah. No.
I could see that. I could see the over as well, but it always feels like anytime you get 2 high explosive teams, like, it's like 17-14. Right. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised. And GQ, like you mentioned, now that you got a couple weeks of game film, I'm starting to wonder if this is the week where defenses do start to improve in a big way, just because they have so many tendencies now that they've seen on film throughout the first 2 weeks. So, but with that being said, I think the Lions are going to have to score a lot of points to win this game. So, if I was a betting man, I could see that over 51. I could see maybe, 34-31 type of game, something like that.
How cool is it for 2 former teammates to get on the podcast and talk about the Lions going into a Monday night game and having the Lions be such a big deal, and the Ravens are obviously a big deal in the NFL? How cool is it for you guys to get on and talk about these things, breaking it down here in week 3?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I always love seeing my former teammates, whether it's, Green Bay guys, Detroit guys, the bond that we had, even though I was only here for a couple years, like it was great to be, part of that group with those guys. And, talking football, man, this is like, Glover, I know me and you've been done for, a few years now, and this gets our engine revving, anytime we get to talk about the game that we played and the game that we love, man. It's fun. And especially, with the team that we both played for and love, having the success that the Lions are having, man, last couple of years, and hopefully they can keep that going Monday.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's probably the only reason why I still do it, man, just to talk about it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I don't really. I mean, I don't play it anymore. I don't coach. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of get to talk about it. So it forces you to stay in tune into what's going on and watch it and kind of analyze it. get your perspective on it. So definitely cool to do, and especially when you got a former teammate, somebody that you played against, battled against, and then, became teammates with. And TJ was always a great guy. And so it was cool to have him on the show.
Lions fans certainly do love you both. Super Bowl champion TJ Lang, All-Pro safety Glover Quin, breaking it down. Ravens and Lions, the first of 2 Monday Night Football games for the Lions this season. It'll take place next Monday in Baltimore. And we'll get you the post-game recap right here on Bleav in Lions, brought to you by FanDuel. We'll be back then. Thanks for watching, everybody.